You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our Weight Loss Wednesday, I've been waiting a while to bring this topic to you. It's basically, should you be snacking during the day? Should you be snacking before meals? Should you be snacking before bed? Now, I've talked about the before bed one a lot, but I'll touch on it again today. But the big thing is this. So we're on a Weight Loss Wednesday. We're talking about should you be snacking. Now, this is not a show for adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, autoimmune-based issues, but a lot of the same things are going to apply. And I'm going to tell you right now, when people come into my Boston practice, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight into what we do, what our nutrition plan is. So they literally follow something called our Fatlocity diet plan. These are for our weight loss-based clients. You can see it online just at stephencabral.com/store. It's the same exact plan that every single client gets when they walk into the wellness center. And it's something that I just have been using, honestly, for over a decade, and it just works great. We make changes, additions if needed, but it hasn't changed in a decade. Just sometimes the names of the foods, the brands, things like that tend to change. But in that plan, you'll see that there's 3 main meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then there's a mid-morning snack and a mid-afternoon snack. So that's 5 times a day that you're eating. Now, there's not one before bed, okay? I never recommend a snack before bed, ever, unless a person's trying to gain weight, they want to make themselves more anabolic, or if that person has blood sugar dysregulation, meaning like they wake up during the middle of the night because they go into a state of hypoglycemia. So their heart starts to race, their cortisol starts to get produced to a greater degree. This is very, very rare. So again, not a lot of people have this, but I do work with a lot of adrenal fatigue wellness clients, and sometimes they have to deal with this low blood sugar issue, but not the majority of people. So the majority of people, after they eat dinner, they're basically stopping, and they're using my 12-hour overnight fast. If you haven't read about that, it's one of my number one things that I use in my practice for wellness, for weight loss, for everything, by a process I've been explained a lot before called autophagy, and you will hear about it more in the future. It is the future of longevity, the future of weight loss, the future of wellness. It's what I base my whole detox around. It's literally, if there's one thing that's close to the fountain of youth, it's this, all right? And a lot of people talk about it now with intermittent fasting. Well, during the day, unless you're meditating during the day or really, really relaxed, intermittent fasting during the day is not great for a lot of people, except for short bouts, of course. Like, I'm not talking about, if you're doing it every day, that's one thing. That's not what I don't recommend. If it's just 1 or 2 days a week, that could be a different story if you're using it for specific purposes. But let's get back now to should you be snacking between meals? No. So now keep in mind, when someone is going from just your standard American diet, which is obviously terrible, right? I mean, it's typically cereal or, some type of like muffin or breakfast bar or something like that on the go for breakfast with maybe a coffee. And then I don't know, if anything, they're doing something maybe mid-morning that isn't that great, another coffee and something to keep them going. Lunch might be a sandwich. Mid-afternoon might be cookie or something that's hanging around the office, a bag of chips, and then dinner will be, whatever is available. Sometimes it's a better meal. You're home with your family. Sometimes it's takeout. Sometimes it's pizza. Sometimes you're out to dinner. So it could be a lot of different things, but that's the standard American diet, right? That's what we all have known, I'm sure, at some point in our life. I know I have, and it's not something that we want to make a part of our diet. It's not healthy. It's not conducive to weight loss, not conducive to being in shape, not conducive to longevity. It's only conducive to illness. That's basically it. So what should we do? Well, so here's the thing. Like, I'm really realistic in my practice. I meet with people from all different walks of life. So that's our standard plan. Now, we can customize that for each person, but since it works so well, and yes, it does boost the metabolism. Why does it boost the metabolism? Well, here's the thing. People's diet is typically like really erratic. And what I'm trying to do is I always talk about rhythms. It's the one thing missing in natural medicine and obviously conventional medicine is getting the body into rhythms. So when you come to my practice, and I'm just giving you everything we do right now, you're eating every 3 hours. That's the bottom line. Now, why are you eating every 3 hours? Well, the thing is that I want you to have regulated blood sugar. I also want your body to know, hey, there's food coming every 3 hours. You don't need to keep storing all this body fat. The other thing is I want to get you to get your portions smaller so it starts to shrink your stomach. These are all my secrets. Again, I'm just giving them all to you right now. And so that then eventually said, I'm not fully full from this meal, but I'm eating again in 3 hours. I don't need to stuff my face with all this different food. And why does this matter? Well, I don't expect your body to flip the switch overnight. I expect it to flip the switch over a course of 21 days. All of my protocols are 21 days. And you'll see that in clients by the end of the 21 days, whether it is doing a full-blown Dr. Cabral detox, doing the fat velocity plan, or doing an elimination diet, all these different things, is you make a remarkable change around day 10 through 21. You have to get through that first week to 10 days. You have to get through 2 weekends. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? Once you've gone through 2 weekends, the change in the body is just monumental. And I just got a text actually from a private client. I do some very private high-end work with some people, and this person texted me and they said, I have to tell you, days 14 to 21 made all the difference in the world. They had done 7-day plans before, 7-day detox, these types of things. But once you get to that level, things start to click. The inflammation starts to go way down. Your blood sugar absolutely does start to become regulated. You sleep better at night. Your mood's different. Everything just digests easier. Because why? I mean, it's simple, right? You've just been on it longer. Like, that's the bottom line. You're going to feel even better at 28 days. But the truth is, you make this massive just drop in not blood sugar, in inflammation, and your blood sugar does become more regulated. But then after that, so right, I have mid-morning snack and I have mid-afternoon snack. After that, now what are we talking about? Well, for most wellness-based clients and most weight loss-based clients, after 12 weeks, so yes, they did the 21 days, but they went through our full 12-week protocol in the beginning. I then like to have people switch to a morning smoothie, no matter what, morning smoothie that you drink in over 60 minutes, 90 minutes or so, and you wait an hour, maybe 90 minutes after you wake up, and that lasts you then until lunch. Okay, you do an earlier lunch, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock or so. Then you do a mid-afternoon snack, and then you do dinner. Why do I do that? Well, the reason is this, that you are now going basically until lunch with very little to have to digest, very little heavy, so that all of that energy that would typically be used for digestion, which is about like 30% of all your energy is used for digestion, goes to you, which means now you're not reliant on caffeine, you're not reliant on coffee, you can make it through your morning with very clear thinking. What happens is a lot of times the first heavy meal that someone puts in their stomach, that's when they start to get a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of tiredness, and simply because their digestion's weak. I mean, that's kind of the bottom line. Or improper food combining, or wrong foods, all of these different things. Liver, sluggishness. Hopefully you listened to yesterday's episode where I talked about how to do a liver cleanse. All these different things, they affect the body. But again, I work with thousands of people a month online that I'll never be able to talk to, specifically, individually on the phone, during a Skype consult or in person. And that's okay because you get to use all of these great things. So what I'm trying to say is this: the longer you can go between meals. Now, we have to be reasonable, right? Because we have to keep our energy up and we have to keep our blood sugar level stable. But if you can go now 3 to 4 hours between your smoothie in the morning and lunch, and again, your smoothie in the morning should be an all-in-one. Like, it should be your multivitamin, your protein, a little bit of berries or fruit, a little bit of greens, like all that great stuff. Or just do a multivitamin or something like that, but you have to get all of your nutrients all together. Again, you can't buy your multivitamin at like Target or Walgreens. And again, nothing against those places. Great to pick up paper towels and toilet paper and razors, but you can't buy your vitamins at the same exact place. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's a bargain discount place. You certainly don't want to get bargain supplements. It's a really bad idea. You don't want bargain food. You don't want, 2-day leftover anything. That's just the way it works. So, all right, let's get back on track. So then after that, if we can eat 4 times a day, with the majority of the eating being from around 11:30, 12 until around 6 or 7 at night, we condense our eating to one block of time, which helps the body to cleanse, to detox, all of those things when it doesn't have new food toxins coming in. Plus, if I can make you go longer between those meals, or if I can just make that mid-afternoon snack eventually disappear, so you're just doing a smoothie in the morning, a little bigger now lunch for your lunchtime, because that will satiate you more, and then you can go 5 hours to maybe 6 hours until dinner, and then have a good dinner, but more vegetables than anything else, and some protein and good fat. Well, then you're going more time between meals. Now, why does that matter? And again, you have to make sure that you have to get to that point, right? I didn't get to that point until I was well. I needed snacks between meals. But when you get to that point, it means this: that you're going to have more time for not more food substances coming in your body. Remember, every time we eat, more toxins are coming into our body, even if it's the best food in the entire world. Plus this, for weight loss, why does it matter for weight loss? Well, if you can go more time with weight loss, that means that, remember, after about 1 to 3 hours after you eat, your blood sugar is increasing. That means you're not burning fat, all right? That you're just not burning fat at a very good level. So if your blood sugar can come back down after that 2 to 3 hours, that means for the next 2 to 3 hours before that next meal, you're tapping into more body fat. That's why doing, the whole fasted cardio thing in the morning, going longer between meals, has been shown in Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine and all the ancient medicines to be much better for weight loss, but also for wellness. Like if you can get to that point where you're eating less times throughout the day, you also give your digestive system a rest. You give your endocrine system a rest. You give your whole body a time to just relax. It's better not to be eating all the time. You use less energy because your digestive system takes so much energy. So hopefully that makes sense today. So in the beginning, you start with 3 meals and you start with 2 snacks. But then eventually you go breakfast, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, and then dinner. Now, if you're always busy, like you're always on the go, and you just expend a lot of energy during the day, you'll probably need that mid-afternoon snack. Now, most days per week, I still add my mid-afternoon snack. It's usually a smoothie for me. So again, very easy to digest. I just do a second smoothie, or I do some berries, something like that, but usually a second smoothie because I do love them and it's packed with so much nutrition. And that takes very little energy to digest, and it's basically in my system, out of my stomach in about an hour or so. So that's what I do. That's kind of like my compromise. And then some days I don't. And some days it's just the 3 meals or so per day. So you'll find what works for you, but start with the 3 meals and the 2 snacks, the mid-afternoon and the mid-morning. And then after that, go to smoothie in the morning, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, dinner. And that might be where you stay for your whole life. Or some days where you're not as active mid-afternoon, you don't feel like you need it, then you can just do your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Hopefully that answered a bunch of questions today on snacking and if you should snack or not. Again, there's never an all for one. So I gave you the bunch of different scenarios. And so again, hopefully that helps you answer those questions and figure out what works best in your life. Thank you everyone for tuning into another Cabral Concept. And as always, please do feel free to share this episode with anyone you feel could help.
Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.